Pickle, it's time for Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday.
The North Texas Honda dealers want to help you score great deals on award-winning Hondas. Stop by your Helpful Honda dealer today or visit ntxhondadealers.com to learn more.
Well done on that sponsor read. Well done. I think the folks
Thanks,
at Honda.
bud.
I think the folks at Honda are really going to be pleased.
Yeah, good car.
It
Good
is Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday. We're answering your questions about high school football, college football, recruiting, lifestyle, romance, travel, Hawaiian shirts, the end of Hawaiian Shirt Friday,
R.I.P.
things like that. So get your questions in on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We will answer as many as we can. Before we do that, Pickle. Dateline!
Oh, God. Here we go.
Tokyo.
Okay.
I don't know if you've read this story.
Mm.
A Japanese mayor apologized Thursday for biting the Olympic gold medal of a softball player who had paid a courtesy visit after Japan beat the United States in the final. Nagoya Mayor Takashi Kawamura had praised pitcher Miyu Goto during the August 4th visit, but his eyes were glued to her medal. He asked to put it around his neck. Kawamura then pulled down his face mask and bit into it. Quote, "I'm really sorry that I hurt the treasure of the gold medalist," Kawamura told reporters Thursday. The mayor said the medal was undamaged, though he offered to pay for the cost of a new one. Goto, the pitcher, however, has accepted the International Olympic Committee's offer for a replacement, according to the Japanese media reports. The medal bite has become a staple in Olympic photo ops, but for the winners themselves, not for others.
You can't just go biting people's medals, guys.
There's another quote from another Japanese, from a judo champion. Quote, Naohisa Takado said, quote, "I would cry if that happened to me. I handled my own gold medal so gently not to scratch it," end quote. Yeah, that's a party foul. That's a party foul.
Yeah, it's
You
just
can't do
one
that.
of the, like
Like,
okay.
I don't go around biting Vince Young's trophy.
No.
We just take chunks out of it by dropping.
Yeah, like we're respectful
Exactly.
by just taking chunks. You don't
Right.
want teeth mark on
Right,
there.
exactly right.
But no, it's about like, yeah, I guess that's the big thing. Like, asking to wear it might be one thing, like a
Yeah.
step too far anyway. Don't pull down your mask to,
Yeah, I got to be honest. It does feel like if...
like, holding it's
Okay.
one thing, but I don't feel like you should have the right to put it around your
so
neck.
if a gold medalist came in,
Yeah.
I would want them to bring their gold medal
Yeah.
because I'd want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I might ask to hold it.
Yes, absolutely. You can put your hands on it.
I think I want to hold it and be like,
Yeah.
take a
And if
photo
someone
up with it.
now, if they offer it up and say, "Oh, well, put it on, wear it, see what it feels like," then
if they
okay.
offer that,
But
be like,
you
yeah,
cannot
throw it on,
ask.
Tepper, it'll be great.
Yeah.
Then I'll do that.
Yeah.
But as far as like, I think you can ask to hold it.
Yes.
You know, and I'm just within their rights to say no.
Yeah.
But like, anything beyond that
That is too
is
much.
a little beyond the pale.
Yeah, I feel like you can ask to touch it or hold it just to say, "Can I just say that I've held an Olympic gold medal?" I
Right.
feel like that's fine. You know, you
Yes,
can
I
wipe
agree.
off fingerprints,
Yes.
but you should not ask to put it around your neck.
So here
That's-
you go.
it's
There's
just
a
disrespectful.
photo of it. I'll pull this up.
Like, you didn't earn that. You don't have the right to put it around your neck. Oh God, dude, he's really taking a chunk out of that
He's chomping
thing.
on that bad boy.
Lord, like
That
that wasn't even like a
that's tough,
subtle
man.
little bite. Like,
that's tough, man.
it looks like he's trying to eat it.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing there. Anyway,
A lapse of judgment for
he's
sure.
your. So let me just tell you, our this week's
you know you messed up,
non-listener
Wayne.
of the week,
Yeah.
not listener of the week. I don't know how to phrase this, but our we need a
You had one job.
we have our TFT hero of the week.
Yeah.
This is our TFT villain of the week.
There you go.
Is Takashi Kawamura, the mayor of Nagoya, there in Japan. Can't do that, bro. Can't do
No.
that. That's tough.
You
So-
took it too far.
Yes. Okay. So, did you watch any of the Field of Dreams game last night?
I was not able to watch it live. I did go back and do my
Do the highlights thing?
do the due diligence of going through and watching it.
Mhm.
Really cool.
It was cool.
Yeah, you're
it's-
baseball blue blood. What do you think?
I liked it.
How do you feel about the movie first off? That's the first question.
The movie is fine.
Okay.
I like the movie.
Everyone needs to watch it once. type
There
of
are
movie.
people who overrate the movie,
Mhm.
much like there are people who overrate like The Sandlot,
Yeah,
which is a fine movie.
it's great. I
But
like it so
let's not go crazy over it. It's not like one of the greatest movies of all time or anything like
Mhm.
that. So,
It's a nostalgia
But
thing.
certainly. I mean, look, there's a very specific demographic of people that they are trying to get to watch that game.
Oh yeah.
And there are people who already like baseball. Like, it's people who are already going to do that. So, yeah. I enjoyed it. I watched a little bit of it.
think
I
it's
thought it was
great.
fun. I thought that it was interesting.
The game itself was fantastic.
The broadcast was very good.
The
and
storybook ending.
It's
even
funny. A
better.
great game, obviously. Great game. And I remember, so the game started in the top of the first. Jose Abreu for the White Sox hit a home run into the corn. And I told my wife, I said, that's all Fox wanted. They wanted one. They want
Ball
somebody to
to
hit a
end up
home
in
run
the
into the corn. That's the whole point of being here, is to get that one shot.
And
well, sure
little
enough,
did
there were
they
like
know.
4 more home runs
Yeah.
or 5 more home runs.
That is the thing that made me happy.
Like, if that had
about
ended up
it.
being like a 1-0 like pitchers duel, I think
Oh, yeah.
everyone and it's like a sacrifice fly is
Yeah.
what gets the run in.
I was
It
gonna
would have
say,
been terrible.
as people that understand what it is to deliver video content, and like to plan something for so long, the only thing you want is for the game itself to go good, because it doesn't matter how spectacular your planning is.
Mm-hmm.
If the game's a dud, it's just kind of like, well, darn, and that's something you have no control over. So when it does, like Chandra and I were talking about it earlier, those event planners and all the executives at Fox that put all that together, they're celebrating today.
So did you know? Are you aware of what the So it was the highest average price for a regular season game according to StubHub or SeatGeek, one of them. Do you know what the average price on the secondary market for this game? Because there were only, I don't know how many seats there were. They did put, so 8,000. There are 8,000 temporary seats.
The scoreboard was awesome too.
Scoreboard was great. My question is, what do you think was the average? What was the average
People
ticket
are
price
paying
on the secondary
a ton.
market?
It's got to be over $1,000.
$1,400.
Yeah. Okay, that
$1,400.
like I think
the prices are by far the highest average for a regular season game, and have only been topped by a handful of World Series games, which was the average. The record is Game 4 of the 2016 World Series between the Indians and the Cubs at Wrigley. The average was somewhere between $3,500 and $4,200.
okay. Any World Series game at Wrigley is going to be
For sure.
like,
I mean,
that's a bucket list regardless of who's playing.
Most
but no, that's
certainly.
awesome.
Yes.
I'm happy for the people that put that on, that it went as well as it did.
It was a cool game, and
Yeah.
I'm glad they were able to do it. And now everyone's like, "Why don't we play it in like the Sandlot?" I'm like, "Well, that's a bad idea." Anyway. All right. Do we have any questions on Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday?
We sure do. Real fast. We'll stick with this since we were talking about it. Major League or Field of Dreams?
Major League.
Okay, that's what
Major
seems to be
League.
in all the comments too.
Major League rules, guys. if you haven't run back Major League in a while, it holds up. It's very funny.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's a little crass, but I think it was like the late '80s. Everyone was just a little bit crass. There was just a lot of drugs going on, and it's. I think it's really. I think it's real. I think it's. It is both a genuinely funny movie, and also a good baseball movie and a good sports movie, and those are not always the same thing.
It's hard to make that compatible because
Right.
usually it's a cheesy good sports movie or it's a funny parody of a sports movie.
Right. It's like, okay, Remember the Titans.
Yep.
Remember the Titans.
That's got cheese all over
It's
it.
cheese. It's cheesy
Straight
football,
cheese.
but great movie.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what I mean? Like, great movie, cheesy football
Yeah.
movie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, or it's the opposite where it's Waterboy and it's like it's just meant to be a funny, more parody
Yeah, exactly.
football
right.
movie.
Right.
Like it's very hard to hit that sweet spot.
Right, exactly. Here's my hot take. I think Hoosiers is a bad basketball movie. Great movie, not good basketball.
Yeah,
action.
exactly.
Anyway, there's that. All right, what's next, Pickle?
Another random one real fast. How's the diet rage? All right, so there's that.
It's awful, guys.
This is a
Feel bad for me.
this is a super interesting question. Which legacy program? So we're gonna talk pre-1971 state champion. mark that down in your Palm Pilot, has the best shot for a Texas state title. This was
so a team that won a championship before 1971.
Yeah, the reason
that
this
could win a state championship
this
in
year.
2021.
Yeah, the reason that this is being asked is like the Milwaukee Bucks, but for Texas high school football. So it's been 50 years since they've won a championship.
Oh, so we're talking as far as title droughts, or are we talking like, because for example, here's the thing. Here's the cheap answer. Katy won a title in 1959, right? So it's like, that's the cheap answer.
Right,
that's
but
a legacy program.
I think we're talking about
You're talking about
droughts.
like a long title drought that could snap this year.
Yeah.
That's a little tough.
That is tough. There are definitely programs that keep
because here's
close.
the thing is that like when you go back to those times, inherently what you're talking about are programs like Abilene, right? Like Abilene was just like, and Abilene of course won that kind of miraculous title in 2009, but like they hadn't won a title since 1956 before then. And just the power dynamics in Texas high school football have just shifted in that regard, that I don't know if that's necessarily, what you're looking for. Golly, that's tough. I would need to think a little bit on that.
I really think it would. I think the yeah. Like
do you have something he wants me to say?
No, I don't know, but I'm thinking it's gotta be like a.
Because like here's the thing, like Lubbock High won in 1939, 1951, 1952. I don't remember that. I'm looking at this on my computer. Don't give me credit for that. But like I don't think Lubbock, like the Westerners have fallen on hard times, and like things are like
I think
the dynamics are so different.
Way too hard to go like that far back with it because tides have shifted so much. But if we
All
just
right,
want to
no,
go for
I
like
got
an
one.
older program, like a powerhouse like Midland Lee.
I got one.
What?
I got one. I guess I didn't realize it had been this long. Albany.
Ooh,
Albany's my pick to
Denny.
click. Albany, I believe, starts the year number 5 in our rankings. We think they're really good. We think they've got a chance to be
consistently good.
Consistently excellent.
Denny doesn't let them. Denny Faith does not let them die off.
They have not won a title, believe it or not, since 1961.
Wow.
1960, 1961, they went back to back, and they haven't won a title since.
But they're continual playoff contenders.
That's my at first.
That's the answer.
At first glance, that would be the one. I could
Smart.
dig a little bit more and maybe say like other. I could probably come up with another.
I think that's the answer.
I think because we had Longview. Longview had been since 1937. They won in 2018. I would say Albany is probably the team that immediately, in kind of looking up and down this, would spring to mind. But I might think a little bit more about that. Archer City is supposed to be good. They won in 1964 and haven't won since.
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well thought out question.
All right, what's next question?
Let's go with, this is something that I guess I didn't think about until it was said. Jay Washington, we're going to shout him out because he's a YouTube viewer, but he said, not really a question, but a statement, I hope that instead of making 7A a thing, they have 6A D1 and 6A D2 like they do in the lower classifications.
So
what is the reasoning behind why they wouldn't do that?
Right, so that's a good question, and many people are asking. Many people are asking.
I guess I never even thought about that.
The idea would be that if you go and you split 6A, it's not going to solve the problem. Because the biggest problem that you run into in 6A is because there's no cap on it, right? Because you have schools like Allen, and we always toss around Allen, so I'll add the Planos in there. They're enormous as well. You have these like mega schools, right? Because of that, you're going to end up having these mega schools with like 4,000 students in them playing teams with 2,200 students in them. If you were to go and split 6A in the middle, you would still have that same problem in the sense that like you might have 20s, like the cutoff for 6A D1 might be like 20. I'm pulling a number out of my butt.
Right.
2,500, 2,700. Let's say it's 2,700.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you're still gonna have 2,700 against 6,000. That's still like not equitable. That's still the
gap
problem.
is too big.
By creating its own 7A, you would then take a smaller, I think that, Matt Stepp contends that what you would do is you have a smaller number of teams in 7A. And you would go and put those up there into their own kind of super league, so to speak, so that they can just all duke it out with the other giants. And then have what ends up being closer to an actual, what 5A looks like. We can debate whether or not that's the right move. 6A coaches, from what I understand, do not want to split. They don't want to have that split, but I do wonder if 7A would alleviate some of those really top-end concerns where you take maybe the top, I don't know what step, like top 100 schools or the top,
It wasn't even that much.
a smaller class, top 80 schools, and move them into their own bracket so that you're not having this 2,000 and 2,100 kids playing against 7,000.
Right. Another thing is and a lot of people in the comments are exactly right about this. The geography is a huge thing.
Because
like
the other
West
thing,
Texas schools, they can't split up like that.
These mega schools are almost all of them are in major metro areas.
Yeah.
Almost all of them are in DFW, Houston especially. Maybe there's one in Austin that I'm not thinking of, San Antonio. That's where they are, and maybe down in the RGV.
Yeah. And you
that's
can't
where those
split
mega schools
that
are.
and have Midland League come over here and
correct.
play Allen every week.
If you were to do that, if you were to go with that, then if you split 6A in half, then you may have to have, you're exactly right, you may have to have Wolford Friendship traveling to go and play in a DFW Metroplex.
And that's just
not
feasible.
going to work. So as far as geography is concerned, that would be a reason why you would go with a Class 7A as opposed to splitting a Class 6A. So there's that. What's next, Pickle?
What is the most underrated teams in 6A heading into 2021?
Say that again?
The most underrated teams in 6A.
Underrated. So we have a whole thing on this and I believe Sleeper's team is coming out. But as far as a team that I think is underrated, it's weird because we do the rankings. So it's like you're saying, what do you disagree with yourself about?
Someone that you wouldn't be surprised that sneaks up.
So here's the thing. I mean, we talked about this a lot, but like if you, so here's how I'll answer this. Here are teams that coaches are really high on, because we asked coaches about this, that we maybe aren't as high on. So here are teams that coaches have believed they have sniffed out as could be really good. Okay, so in 6A, Tomball Memorial. Coaches are really bullish on Tomball Memorial. They lose a fair amount, but they think they're going to be really good. Temple is in that mix as well, as far as teams that coaches think are going to be really good.
Mainly because of the pants.
Let's see.
Where do we
New Braunfels Canyon is a team that we've heard a lot about. People think New Braunfels Canyon is going to be really good, better than maybe we necessarily project them to be. In San Antonio, Alamo Heights is maybe one of them. Sherilyn Pioneer. But I think a lot of that, when you ask coaches, they're looking at what they did last year. Obviously, Ailey Marburger's gone, and he was a big part of what they did. Marshall. Keep an eye on Marshall.
Okay,
coaches are pretty bullish on them. That's one. Let's see if I can find one more in the 4A ranks. Henderson. Henderson is a team that coaches are pretty bullish on. They think that they're going to be pretty darn good. I'll also throw out a team like Wall. They went 8-4 last year, but they got totally wiped by graduation. Coaches are a lot more bullish on their ability to just reload than we are. So those are just a few off the top of my head that I would say maybe fit that particular category of underrated. So that would be a cross all classification. Did you ask in 6A?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I gave you a couple in 6A, and I just kind of went farther. Again, more questions than answers. Right. All right, we have two more?
Two more, yep. If you had a time machine and you could have any two historic Texas high school football teams play from any year, which two would you have play? From a defensive perspective, that 2015 KD defense?
Yeah, against the 83 Dangerfield team is an easy choice.
Yeah.
But I would also say, because that would be different in the sense of like two elite, probably the two best defenses in Texas high school football history in some sort of order, right? Would be 1983 Dangerfield against 2015 Katy. I think those are the two best defenses in Texas high school football history. I would also love to see like 83 Dangerfield go up against like 2014 or 2013 Allen. And
that's and
just see defense. Like here is this flamethrower offense with this transcendent talent in Kyler Murray going up against the greatest defense of all time.
Yeah. Right?
That would be something I'd be very interested in. The other side of the ball might be a little interesting too, but I mean all eyes would be on whenever Allen has the ball, like how do they handle them?
It'd also be
probably the immediate
yeah, and then if I had to choose like just a game that, and we talk about this all the time, but if Jaquindon Jackson wouldn't have gotten hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And we could have seen legitimate Duncanville versus North Shore 2.0.
Yeah, I mean,
That's just if you had a time machine,
I would have liked
you know.
to have seen. Yeah, I would like to have seen 2019 full strength Duncanville against 2019 full strength
North
Shore on both sides, because remember North Shore didn't have Zach Evans as well. So I would have liked to see them like run it back in some sort of thing. I'll also say, like, as far as like what ifs are concerned, like there's a lot of what ifs. Like, what if Matthew Baldwin's knee doesn't collapse against Allen?
Yeah.
And they have to bring in Hudson Card in for Lake Travis, and he performed well. He performed admirably, but it just wasn't enough because he was a sophomore thrown into there. That would be one that I would be very interested in seeing. So yeah, there's a lot of what ifs as far as those title games are concerned. But yeah,
it's a lot of what ifs too when you think about like matching players. Like if you think about like what if Kyler Murray and Jackson Smith-Njigba would have been on the same team?
Yeah.
Like that would be so cool to just see, you know.
For sure. Or like
time machines would be dope, is what we're saying.
Like, you know. I don't know. Yeah, I would love to have a time machine, and I'd also love for like the UIL to let me just transfer players wherever I want clearly for athletic purposes, and be like, hey, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take Patrick Mahomes and we're gonna put him on like a really super good team. And see what happens.
Yep.
So yeah, okay. Give me an ender.
What is your favorite sports trophy and or celebration? And there is a right answer in my mind on this.
Let's go to Ashley Pickle for the right answer.
The best trophy in sports is the Stanley Cup. It is hard for you to tell me that is not like physical. I'm talking physical trophy. That thing is awesome. I don't think there's a better trophy out there.
I don't want to push back too hard because it's a good answer.
Yeah.
It's a good. Like one of the problems I've always had with baseball is that the Commissioner's Trophy kind of stinks.
Yeah.
It's like all these flags. Like, I don't know. It just kind of stinks.
It's kind of bud.
You know, the Lombardi Trophy is obviously like iconic. Like,
right.
The Naismith Trophy is iconic.
Okay, you want to talk about something now? Give me back the
crystal ball.
The crystal ball. Then we can have a conversation. But I think the Stanley Cup is the best trophy. In sports.
Let me go off the board here.
Ooh.
Let me go off the board. Okay.
Okay.
Give me a boxing or UFC or wrestling belt. That's
okay.
pretty great. A trophy you can wear.
I was fixing to say, what's the actual best celebration? The green jacket ceremony. But yeah, like you said, give me a trophy you can wear. It's the same thing as the gold jacket for the NFL Hall of Fame, and everyone thinks that's cool. But supposedly you put it in green, it just loses its luster. Wrong.
You know it has nothing to do with the jacket. You know it.
It has everything to do with the golf.
That's exactly right.